Hello my little lovelies and welcome to today's video. It's probably going to be a relatively quick one and it's basically the remainder of the books that I read during July. So I've already done a kind of lengthier video detailing, well more likely directing you to vlogs that I've done where I've reviewed them in full, the books of course that I read in July, and this is just the tail end of it really. These are the last 4 books that I didn't talk about during that video because I hadn't yet finished them or started them or completed them, however you want to view it. So the first of the 4 books is one that I was reading in the last reading vlog, which was my first 2 weeks of the summer reading challenge, and that was The Owl Service by Alan Garner. This is a beautiful edition. I think it was celebrating like 20 years or something since its release, and unfortunately I didn't love this as much as I was hoping to. I do have much more like fully formed thoughts and pretty much an overall review in that vlog that I was mentioning briefly, but otherwise this video is going to be super short. I thought I'd tell you a little bit more about it here. So this is basically a mythology based story steeped in Welsh mythology, with a haunting of sorts concerning these owl service dinner plates, and we're following 3 main characters essentially. Young kids, I say young kids, they're probably like pre-teenage, and they are Alison and her stepbrother Roger, and Gwyn, who is the son of their home taker, their home carer. I don't, what would you call her? She's employed to look after the home, so home carer. There's a word for that and it's completely out of my head. Anyway, they stumble on these owl service, dining service of owl plates, and magical strange things happen. There's a whole historical mythology that kind of sets itself in motion and reenacts itself within the characters of Alison, Roger and Gwyn, and they're trying to figure out how to stop it because it's getting quite dangerous and supernatural and creepy. Unfortunately I didn't find it as, I don't know, it was definitely steeped in mythology, but it wasn't to the level that I was hoping for. I really wanted to feel enveloped by the lore and the land and the richness of it all, and I just felt like it was very surface level for me. I also struggled to enjoy the characters. I found them to be just irritating, and yeah, they were probably written like that purposefully, but it's difficult when you're not completely on board with a story and don't have characters that you can at least root for. Do you know what I mean? So going hand in hand, it was a bit of a struggle. Magic of it, I kind of wanted more of a deeper explanation, and I don't know if it's because I wasn't familiar with the mythology of it or if it's just how it was written. But nevertheless, I am glad that I did give this a go. I ended up giving it a 2 out of 5 stars though. I have a little children's non-fiction called Mythologies, Fairies by John Mallam, and this is one that I had out from the library. This is a short little book that reminded me of Brian Froud creations, and all of his books. Brian and Wendy Froud, actually, they're like a little dynamic duo, husband and wife team I think. They did things like the character design and illustrations and such for like Dark Crystal and the Labyrinth, that sort of thing. But yeah, it's basically a little fact file of all things like sprites, pixies, fairies, brownies, goblins, hobgoblins, and I just loved the way the information was delivered. It was as if, you know, you're reading about wild animals in nature and where you can find them and their temperaments and what they're all about, and I love things like that. So it was a nice nostalgic kick, but at the same time I still really love and I dream of believing in it, you know, as much as I did when I was a little one. So yeah, I really enjoyed that one. I gave it a 4 out of 5 stars in total. There's me thinking I had 4 books to talk about. I do not. I have 3. So the last book was one that I was reading for a book tour, so thank you to Henry Roy PR's team for sending me a digital copy. This is one that I spoke about already in the month, but I have since finished it, so I just kind of gave my thoughts so far when it was my time on the book tour, and that is The Building That Wasn't by Abigail Miles. And it's a difficult one to explain really because it's kind of cross genre and there's quite a lot of layers to it, so it's a bit of a complex one to try and get my head around. This building and it's got a name, but I can't describe it. But I did some research, and the name of it has got ties in with the Bible, and like the meaning behind it kind of makes sense. But it would have been cool if we had more maybe conversation of that, and I know they're probably staying clear from a religious aspect, but that's the only ever time I've ever noticed that word. Like when I looked it up, it was just that straight away. So it would have been cool to kind of see how they mirrored, but and like a deeper belief system, what kind of really created this. But anyway, I digress. So there's this building, and in this building time like moves differently, and it's one of the reasons it's tricky to explain is because you don't really find out what's truly happening in this building until the end, and even then it's still like, so what's happening? You know what I mean? I will say for me that was unfortunately a drawback by the end. I ended up giving it a 2.5 out of 5 stars upon completion, and it just, I think the characters didn't know what was happening, and that was fair enough, but we was getting to like midway, like 3/4 of the way done, and I still as a reader didn't know really what was happening. So it's a facility, and there's people living in this facility, but you don't know why they're there. There's some testing being done. They've got some sort of genetic anomaly which is basically converted like into a power, but it's not like a power that you see acted upon, right? So the power is used for energy for the building, but what does that mean? Do you know what I mean? So I feel like coming out of it, I had more questions than answers, and for me, the type of reader I am, I don't enjoy that. I like things to, okay, not be wrapped up neatly with a happy ending, that's not what I mean, but I like to have closure and to feel satisfied and like, yeah, I'm done. So even if there was a sequel, I wouldn't necessarily feel obligated to read it. And I know I wouldn't say it was sequel bait at all, although I do think there was hopes of making a second book. I might be wrong. If I am, I apologise, but what I mean is like, even the way it ended hasn't got me super excited to pick up a sequel, because I know I'm gonna come out still confused, if you know what I mean. I don't know if it was writing style, storytelling, you know, just the overall delivery and execution had me lost, and I don't like feeling super lost with the character and never knowing truly what's going on, because I think as readers we're granted some sort of like, I don't know, omnipotent power to, you know, be a couple of steps ahead in a way and be like, oh okay, I can maybe not predict what's happening to the fullest, but have an inkling of an idea of where this could go, or have kind of theories. But I couldn't even master myself to have theories because I didn't know what was happening. I didn't understand what was going on, and that's fair enough. Like, can't understand everything, but yeah, I just felt so lost and a little bit confused. And the premise of it, like what I was reading and like the buzzwords and things like that, sounded so interesting. That's why I put myself down onto the book tour. It sounded like something I would really enjoy, and I did for the first like third of it, and then it just didn't get satisfying with opening up what was happening and where it was going. I just, yeah, continuously felt lost, and I realised that I'm rambling, so I do apologise. I do have a bit more of like a cohesive stream of thoughts written down over on Storygraph and Goodreads. If you are interested in that, my information, how to friend me on there, or any of the social medias or whatever, are always down in the description, so feel free to check that out if you want more of a clear directive of what I'm trying to say. But yes, those are the books that I read, or the last couple of books that I read during July. So plans for August, I know we're already a couple of days into it, a good few couple of days into it actually, nearly a week I think, but I'm still carrying on with my own little summer reading challenge. If you don't know what I'm talking about, then I will link that video in the description where I talk a little bit about it and some of the picks that I'm hoping to read. I have gone sort of off the rails of it and been reading more books that I've been getting out from the library, which is good, because, you know, supporting libraries. I work in a library now, so that's great, and obviously it's making me bring home a lot of stuff, but it's kind of kicking me in the butt of the goal, which was reading books I already had on my TBR, getting through some books that, you know, have been sitting there for a while, or just brought in and just not being shown the love that it needs. But I still intend to read the original 6, I believe, well 5 now, because this was one of the original books on that list. So the original 5 books that I had on that TBR, still intending to get through, and just included any extras that take my fancy from the library. So yeah, that is the reading plan from August. I don't think I have any book tours in the diary or any like reviews promised or anything like that. So it is, I think, purely a reading for leisure, reading for pleasure. I mean, it always is anyway, but I don't have any particular obligations at the moment, as far as I'm aware, for the month of August. So it should be a nice month, be a real mood reader month, I think. So yes, we shall see how that goes. Let me know, as always, what you guys are reading, what you're enjoying, what you're surprised by, whether they're good or bad or in between. And thank you very much for watching. I shall catch you in another video soon. Bye.